You cannot trust this individual with anything, with your life, with your health, with your punani. You can't. I know there's individuals online who are claiming that me or the other women are claiming that he had stealthed them. That is not true. During our trip, we had consensual intercourse. I did ask about condoms. He said he doesn't like them. They don't feel right, or they're not for him.
I've already spoken in the past about my issues with condom use. It's not something I'm proud of or whatever it is, but that's just the truth. It ain't pretty, but me being that.
I'm a single working mother. For the last 6 years, I've been doing it by myself. There's no child support involved. I'm aware that, these people in these red pill communities,
oh Jesus,
they're kind of disengaged from reality.
Man, we got to talk about this Abba situation real quick. Now, interestingly enough, the first time that Abba from Abba and Preach was outed for behavior that was unbecoming to the things that he talks about on his platform, at least some of the things that he talks about, I was actually in Thailand during that, so I missed that whole kerfuffle. I missed that whole debacle, okay, where your boy was on the beach sipping a Mai Tai, getting a massage by a lovely young lady. Nevertheless, I actually just came back from a mini vacation, all right? I'm not even going to talk about it like that right now because it was a lot, okay? I was at adults only hotel, and I just keep it right there, okay? Shit was crazy. Nevertheless, your boy is back, and I came back to that there's another young lady that Abba was dating a couple of months ago. This is in 2026, like around February, March time frame, okay? She became pregnant, and she had a miscarriage, and now she's taken to the internet in order to speak about her relationship with Abba, and she's describing him as like this monster, and how could he do this to me, this, that, and the third. And listen, I do think that Abba needs to be held accountable for some of the ways that he has chosen to move within the situation. However, I do think that there are some things that come from her that has a hint of hyperbole. So I want to be able to go through and diagnose and assess from my rational what I can be perspective, and also kind of shed light from my perspective, all right? Because y'all already know what the type of content that I do. Interestingly enough, they've not released the MTR files. And I think that is a large amount to do with the way that I move. Now, it could happen to any of us, okay? So I do have sympathy, but when you're moving mad, bruv, you gotta be able to have someone in and around your corner to speak to you truthfully. But being another successful content creator, I can understand how things could get lost in the sauce. So we gonna go through it, we gonna talk about it, and we gonna get active on it, all right? Now, as of this recording, Abba hasn't spoke about this secondary situation, and I don't know if at this point if he should come and speak any more about this at all, as opposed to let his lawyers handle it. But apparently he's also sent cease and desist letters to the first young lady. Remember the Filipino lady from about 2 or 3 months ago? Sent a cease and desist to her, and I can imagine that something similar is going to happen to this young lady that's trying to out him right now. So I'm going to skip the first 10 minutes of her video. It's like an hour-long video, too long for a VOD. So I'm going to skip the first 10 minutes, and we're going to get right into how it is that they met and what happened with them initially. So let's diagnose and assess without further ado. Before we get started, and it don't really matter that much, but I think it sets additional context. When I looked at her originally, I said, man, with the thickness of that bottom lip and the pointiness of that top nose, this is a mixed young lady. A lot of content creators are just calling her white, okay? And if you look down in her comment section, she was raised with a black single mother. She says she identifies more with black people than white people. So it's just additional context, but let's go.
He has claimed a lot of health issues and uses it for his own benefit. It may be true that he has health problems, but he's an individual who uses it for his own benefit to get his way, or to push a narrative that may or may not be true or may be half true. We don't entirely know. During our meetup, we had consensual intercourse. I know there's individuals online who are...
Okay, just real quick. She said consensual. Now notice how she said the word consensual, but she says except it was under fraud, which can be prosecuted as great by fraud in some jurisdictions. Whoa, that's a crazy allegation right there. But let's listen to the way that she describes this, okay?
We had consensual intercourse. I know there's individuals online who are claiming that me or the other women are claiming that he had stealthed them. That is not true. None of us have claimed that he stealthed us. It was an anonymous individual who came forward. She is not public, so I don't think I have any business putting her face out there. Unless she wants to come out, that will be her choice. But back to what I was saying. During our trip, we had consensual intercourse. I did ask about condoms. He said he doesn't like them. They don't feel right, or they're not for him. My audio cut here, but
Okay.
I was just saying that this was a point of a lot of criticism of people online that
Yeah,
were saying
you had
that
raw
why would
sex
you
with him.
trust someone who
Yeah.
you just met and not wear condoms. I do agree with that.
Okay,
I do.
good.
The only thing that I can say to this is that I trusted him. I trusted that he wasn't sleeping around, that he was being honest, and that he was a safe person. And it turned out to be false. I
Okay,
was wrong.
so he's a liar.
And that's all I can say.
I've already spoken in the past about my issues with condom use. It's not something I'm proud of or whatever it is, but that's just the truth. It ain't pretty, but me being honest.
After the consensual
Sorry, I don't mean to be laughing like that, but like, yo, listen, son. Listen, he likes it raw, baby. He said, but try to bring up a condom in front of Abba. He said, get that shit out of here. We gonna do this the way that God intended. You heard? God.
Last month, my Facebook page alone generated over $13,000. That number is so ridiculous. Why? Because I did absolutely no work in order to achieve that. But I put systems in play to earn that revenue. Now, there's a very important definition here. It's called resting revenue rate. How much money do you earn in a month at rest, not doing a damn thing? Because at least on my Facebook page alone, it's $13,000. Now, what's also crazy about that is I'm not a Facebooker. I'm a YouTuber. Majority of my money comes from YouTube and as well as ad sponsorships. The Facebook stuff is just the icing on the cake. But just the icing on the cake alone, I'm financially independent because it damn sure don't cost me $13,000 a month to live. Come copy my system of how I earn between $50,000 and $100,000 each and every month. Go to viral2value.com to pick up my curriculum and join my community where we also do live calls, Q&As, to answer all of your guys' questions on your content creation journey.
So, but now listen, okay? Now, grape allegation, but she says it was consensual. Let's keep on paying attentiones. Let's go.
intercourse, he suggested that I take the Ella pill, which is basically like
Plan B?
another Plan B pill.
Okay.
He took me to the pharmacy down the street from his place. He paid for it and I immediately took it. But as we all know, the Plan B pill does not work if you've already ovulated. So after my trip, after I left, a couple weeks later, I find out that I'm pregnant. I think I
This is
told him
crazy.
a couple days after I found out, because at that time he was telling me how much he's having, difficulty sleeping, he's having
Okay.
health issues, and I was like, this is probably not the time. This is probably not a good time to tell you this information because you might have an aneurysm. I eventually tell him, I show him the pregnancy test. I
Okay.
send him pictures of it because I feel like if you meet someone one time, right, and they tell you they're pregnant, you're going to want to have proof.
Sure.
You want to be for sure. I sent
Okay.
him pictures of the test and I told him, here, I'm sending this to you because you probably need to see it. He told me immediately he didn't need to see it, that he believed me.
Wait,
Remember
why?
that whenever this fertility lie comes up again, okay? After
Okay.
I told him about the pregnancy, his words and his actions never really aligned. His words
Okay.
said one thing, but his actions said another.
Okay.
He would claim that he would support me, that he would be involved, that he would co-parent, but his actions to me after, as I've said before, after the meetup, he would ignore my calls. He would give me so many excuses as to why he cannot communicate with me. He would text every now and then, but it wasn't consistent the same way as it was prior to meeting. He seemed to have a lot going on at the time. I had
Okay.
so many worries and concerns. I felt like it was maybe my fault that I was pushing him away, making him feel a little bit overwhelmed.
Okay.
You'll see it in a lot of the messages. You may have already seen some of them. I would apologize for a lot of things. I would try to reassure him constantly. I would tell him very nice things about himself to make him feel better. These were just my
Okay.
attempts to try to save something that was never really there to begin with.
Sure.
You can take everything with a grain of salt. I don't have any proof of these phone calls. He let me know that this wasn't really a choice that he would make. He would have rather me get an abortion, just like
Okay.
the previous two women that he was with. Despite him telling me that he would rather me get an abortion And he did make it clear that it is the woman's choice. And I also told him that I would respect any decision that he made. I'm already a single mother. I decided that if this wasn't something that he was comfortable with, that he just wasn't ready for, I'm fine with him just walking away. And I let him know. I said, you have multiple choices that you could take. But in one of his videos that he posted about me, he lied and said that I told him to disappear.
After talking for a few weeks, we meet up. She ends up getting pregnant, wants to keep it. I'm supportive, despite her offering for me to disappear and not be involved.
Whoa.
Please show me where I said that. But
Okay.
I never told him to disappear. And if that is true, so-called king of receipts, please show that where I said you can disappear. I don't care. I'll do this by myself.
Okay.
I would like to see it. If that exists, I would like to see it.
Okay. Now, there's a couple of things here. Number one, I appreciate that she says that, hey, listen, I've only known him for a couple of weeks. We took a trip together and I allowed him to go raw daddy. I think that to a degree, it's half truths of saying that you're just going to just trust somebody, you know, irrespective of you not really knowing this person, that everything that they're saying is the truth. But then also, let's be real. Look at where she's at right now. This is a very average, if not humble life. You're meeting a YouTuber that's showing you attention. He's got 2 million subscribers, and you probably realize that he's a multi-millionaire. So the thought and the allowance of him going raw daddy up inside of you is a lot more tolerable of a thought. Now, Abba paid for the medication, right? We call it Plan B in the States. I guess it's called Project L or whatever it is up there in Canada. Now, I found it curious that Abba asked for the Plan B immediately, right? And that to me means, right, because you go raw daddy and not ask for no Plan B, especially he's going raw daddy as often as what he is, which means to me that he left nothing but the nuts hanging out, okay? Finished off inside. And he risked this. Now, he's also risking this, I guess, in consideration that he's infertile or damn near infertile, but it's also less likely to believe that because at this point, he's gotten at least one other chick half pregnant, in it being Libby. And I believe that there was more women that he got pregnant, allegedly got pregnant in that 2 to 3 year time frame, which leads me to believe not necessarily that Abba is like some, you know, vagina pumping monster, but there's something is off. And I want to talk about what I think is off a little bit later because I want to hear more of what she has to say.
Then, around this time when I found out that I was pregnant, and a little bit before that happened, there was a lot of online stalking and harassment going on. More so after I found out that I was pregnant. They were going crazy in my DMs. They were saying a lot of nasty things about being a single mother, about needing child support and whatnot. A lot of this was exposed at the time that I was miscarrying and going through so much, and it was just crazy. That's why I clarified a lot in those original videos that I'm a single working mother. For the last 6 years, I've been doing it by myself. There's no child support involved. I'm aware that, you know, these people in these like red pill communities,
Oh, Jesus.
they're kind of disengaged from reality. Like, I think there's a lot of mental illness online. These people that claim to be in these communities, they're not really in touch with reality. There's also a teeny tiny suspicion.
This is, you know, and this is where I start to see she's a little bit of a truth stretcher. The people that watch Abba and Preach are not red pill communities. Men that hold you account. If y'all describing red pill as men who try to hold you accountable for your own mistake, you're already a single mother. And after 2 months of being with somebody, you are allowing him to go raw dog, raw daddy, and leave nothing but them damn nuts hanging out. So you receiving feedback and having to take accountability to a degree that you are a 50% decider in the situation is the comments that you were receiving. Now, you are deciding to come out to the internet, making yourself a public figure. Previous to this, nobody knew who you were. So you got to be able to take the good with the bad, the pros with the con, the positives with the negatives. So to be engaging in activity that made you a single mom in the first place should be called out the same way that we call out Abba. There's something going on, and I'm gonna talk about it into how he allowed this or did this multiple times, especially when I tell all them people who watch me, wrap it up, please. Because these are just the women that came out public in regards to it. Lord knows how many that there actually are, but let's proceed.
That the individual that I was dating was possibly behind exposing me. The times where I found out that people were posting my other social medias, like trying to dox me, He was sending it to me. He tried to accuse my cousin of sharing this information that we're seeing each other and whatnot. My social media is very small. The original account that I was on only had family and friends on there. There's other people that I suspect, but Abba is definitely on there because you didn't like that I was posting you. I don't know. I feel like it's a probability that he wanted to get his lick back a little bit because he did not like that. He told me he told me that he didn't really like that, which is fine. I can understand that. So I apologized to him. I did apologize to him. I told him, okay, I'm not gonna do that again. That can make somebody uncomfortable. So I deleted them. I took it off. Those are the reasons why I kind of suspect that he may have been involved with exposing me. Because, come on, 16 followers? Who's gonna share my information like that? Nobody. Now we'll be getting into the topic of miscarriage and pregnancy loss.
Okay.
So if you don't want to see any graphic images, videos, anything that might trigger you, or you're just not interested, please skip ahead. With all of the stress and anxiety of the stalking harassment, the inconsistencies with Abba and everything, it started to affect me internally, and I started to miscarry sometime at the end of April, early May. These are text exchanges during the time that I was miscarrying and going to urgent care and the ER. My daughter was with me and he knew about it and he knew how much it was affecting both of us. These were the type of exchanges that made me think that he cared, but again, his actions showed something else. He was even comforting me when I told him that my daughter blamed herself for the miscarriage. But then he would do things like this. He would post these photos on Instagram, on YouTube, value, feeling brand new, and this is all during the time that I was miscarrying. I kept him updated on my health and the doctor's appointments, and he seemed to care, he seemed to worry, but just the way that he described my situation in one of his videos,
She just ended up having a miscarriage.
it's clear that he never really cared. He didn't have any empathy for me whatsoever. The fact that he doxed me and my child, my 5-year-old daughter, it makes the situation more clear for me how he spoke about me and the way that he treated me afterwards.
Also sent him a voice note. Interesting. I will say though, I am a little confused because it seemed like you and this third woman were on like relatively good terms. So what happened for her to want to talk to Libby in this fashion? Is this mainly because she felt like she was done wrong by you? Because it seems like, or she has the perception that you were still talking to Libby while you were still dealing with her. Like, why is she doing this, do you think?
I'm not entirely sure because we never spoke about it. But from what I gather, it sounds like because I was talking to other women while we were not exclusive, that's what made her upset.
Yeah, so basically what I said already.
I don't mind if, well, my thing is, yeah, we are exclusive and that I'm not seeing other people. I'm not talking to anyone else and I don't want to. Like I said to you before, I generally am somebody who's kind of singular in that regards. So that's pretty normal to me. But saying I'm in a relationship feels a bit too soon. And I say that because, well, we've been talking for 3-4 weeks. We've only spent like 2 to 3 days together. The reason why I don't like the idea of saying I'm in a relationship or putting it that way is that I don't have the confidence yet to make that kind of commitment label-wise. But behaviorally, I think I understand. From your perspective, you're saying you're taking this seriously. I am too. But because I'm taking it seriously, I don't feel comfortable saying I'm in a relationship yet. For me to say I'm in a relationship with somebody would mean that I'm, comfortable telling about these people to my family, my friends, or all this stuff, and I'm not. And the reason why is that it feels way too soon, too fast for that. But, on the other side, I don't want you to think that I'm taking that lightly. I'm not. That's why I can say I'm exclusively talking to you. I'm romantically interested in you. I'm not sleeping around, none of that. So, I don't know if that kind of clears it up for you, if that feels like the answer you don't want, but I also don't want to lie to you and say, yeah, I'm in a relationship, and then, we spend another 3-4 days together and it doesn't work out. Like, I don't like that idea. That seems very empty. So, yeah, let me know how you feel about that answer.
Okay. Now, I've maintained on this platform since the inception, and go back and run the tapes. If you've ever caught me saying anything different, I say I don't lie to women. I say the truth of what it is that I want. If I want multiple, I will tell them that I want multiple. If I say that, hey, listen, I'm not exclusive with you, I will tell them that I am not exclusive with them. And here's the thing, when it comes to whether or not I was in my personal life, and let me also say this, in my personal life prior to YouTube, I had way more women around me. I got way more women, okay? Now that becoming a little bit known of a person and also attaining way more money than what I had when I was, pre-YouTube, right? It's a lot less women that are in and around my space. But here's the thing. As I've moved into the public space, there ain't nothing to expose if you just truthful with it, baby. And I do think Abba is receiving criticism for this. Like, even think about the way that he spoke about his ex-friend Destiny, right? And when he had all of these different allegations against him, and I have been following up on the whole Destiny court case debacle. However, it was a public video that Abba did to kind of expose that he's no longer friends with Destiny, and for all of these reasons, and his sexual proclivities and like all these things that he was known for doing. And once given the opportunity to assess public statements versus his private life, there seems to be a contradiction. Whether or not you talk about this exclusivity thing, or you talk about, having sex without condoms, and then he says later, like, hey, listen, I don't like condoms at all. All right, I be going raw daddy each and every day of the week, you heard? It ain't nothing worse than a woman scored, and now she's utilizing a platform in order to garner all of these receipts. And it also gives them the opportunity to not only expose receipts, but then also bend the truth to their own narrative. Did y'all hear her say something about that he doxed her child? That don't even make sense. And she talks about it a little bit more later, so we'll go through it. But also that it's great by fraud. Like all of these things that she's also sprinkling in on top of the receipts that she's providing, it can be damning to your brand, especially if you have a brand of speaking about behavior. But we're going to skip a little bit ahead here, because about 20 minutes ahead of this, she goes back into that there are multiple women exposing Abba. And I think with this additional kind of context, it gives us the opportunity to kind of speak through what he could have been going through.
An attachment, and it took me a while to detach. But then I think I saw a video of the ex-girlfriend talking about another woman that reached out to her, and at the time I was so confused. I thought she was talking about me. I thought she was saying that I was talking to her, but no, it turns out there was a different woman that he was messing with since 2021.
Pregnant in December 2022.
Whoa, who's this?
And he had sent me an STD test prior, and also he had told me he had a kidney disease, and in his words, kids just aren't happening for him.
Fine. And so I had healthy checkups and I had some health issues. So I went to the doctor. That's what they told me. There's years between these periods.
Well, she told me this. She told me that you had also told her you were on some medication that would make you infertile. But that's like not the case. That's like really bad.
Listen, I don't want to publish my own medical information and what the doc told me.
2.5 years ago, I went to the doctor, and essentially, I won't get to the long gist of the conversation because it's none of your fucking business.
I do, however, believe today that he's a liar.
This woman, she also got pregnant sometime in 2021 or 2022. I forget. But she also got an abortion, and she had contacted the ex-girlfriend. But at the time, because I was going through such a mindfuck, because I was so confused, I didn't know what was going on, and Abba was telling me one thing, I was just like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And his explanation about Steph, because it finally clicked that, oh, there's another one?
Damn.
Huh? He told me that this individual was someone that he only went on 2 dates with. This woman is somebody that he's known since 2021, who got pregnant, got an abortion, and he was meeting her while talking to me. He flew her out about a week and some change before he flew me out. He was telling me that he wasn't sleeping around, he wasn't talking to anyone, that we're exclusive romantically, physically, whatever. He told me all of this and then flew out another woman, raw dogged her, put me at risk for STDs.
Yeah.
You think I'm not thinking about that right now?
Yeah. Now, up to this point, a lot of the internet's going to be on her side because she's demonstrating lies. However, this next section here is she starts to go off the reins. But also, let me talk about this as well, is that this is one of the reasons why, like, as you become more public, earn more money, right, you have to trust people around and women around even less and less and less and less. Now, I'm not saying he should be lying, but just the fact that they have all of these, like they were recording all of his conversations, right? Like, and storing it in their vaults just in case in the future, if a ninja would. It's crazy watching this in real time, knowing how my life has gone as I've gained notoriety. But if you're not truthful with who you are and what you want, right, like it's going to look bad on you at the end of the day. But if back in 2021, a doctor was telling me he can't have kids, and then back then a chick had an abortion, and then, man, all right, but let's listen.
I am. And this is how I found out about the crime called rape by fraud,
Okay.
which if you look it up, a lot of this could have fallen under that, rape by fraud. A lot of jurisdictions consider this a criminal act, but it depends on, you know, the circumstances. I would say that sleeping around and possibly giving somebody an STD, that can fall under rape by fraud. I'm just gonna let that float in the air for a little bit. I don't appreciate somebody lying to my face, putting my health at risk. An STD is just another layer on top of that. But as I said before, I trusted this individual.
Come on,
he
shorty.
said he's clean. I get myself tested. If anyone asks me for those test results, I give it to them. That's kind of the base, the foundation that I was at the time when I was seeing this individual. I was like, okay, we're two adults. We're honest with each other. We communicate. I don't have any reason to suspect that he's a dirty individual, that he's sleeping around, that he's doing all of this. So I just wanted to clarify that that was another thing that I have an issue with, and is why that I'm speaking out this much. And with all of the stalking and harassment.
Okay. Listen, I don't care if you Abba's biggest hater on the internet. We gotta stop this shit right now. Okay, we got to stop this right now. Nip the tail in the bud. Baby love, you consented, all right? After knowing him for whatever amount of time, you said yes. You gave consent, irrespective of what you thought you know about him, or if he says something to you that perked your ears or your eyes up a little bit more, you consented to this. Now, he may not have been honest about exclusivity, and I understand that your butt hurt now, knowing that he was leaving the nuts hanging out with other young ladies. I understand all of that. But please, we do not need to rewrite the definition of grape in order to fit some new unintended scenario, okay? Back in my day, when I was growing up, grape used to be something reserved for force. There was not force here, okay? He did not hold you down against your will. You readily consented and accepted to the act. You didn't even say or ask for an STD test, according to the video that you've laid out in front of us. Okay, so how concerned were you really if that was not a conversation or a question asked? By the way, you know, there's a slipperiness within language, okay? Because as a man, you could say, I'm exclusively dating you, and it'd be 1,000% true. But that don't mean that I'm fucking her or not fucking her. That can be true as well. I'm not dating that hoe. I'm sticking my dick in her, right? Like, but that's the ambiguity or the nebulousness of human language. Because he could have been 100% no, I'm just dating you, baby love. I'm actively in a conversation with you. Betty Boop over here, she just comes through and gets the slang, and that's it. That's all that she wants. That's all that she uses me for, and I use her for. But I'm not dating her. I'm not taking her out places. She comes in through the back door. You coming through the front door. All right? That's why I always tell my MTRs, make sure that y'all are wrapping it up, because you just don't know at the end of the day. Okay, because from my field studies, it seems like women don't like condoms as much, if not more, than men. But you can't go back later and say grape after admitting it was consensual. Let's save that word for the abominable act of what it really and actually is. Could he be a manipulator? Could he be a liar? Right? But a graper? Come on now, baby girl. Now she keeps going in on why she thinks that it is. I'm going to skip to the end of this where she kind of like summarizes all of this up.
I'll give you a rough timeline of everything. I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Thank you, baby love.
Here's a simplified timeline of everything that went down, okay? Me and Abba started talking March 13th. Him and Libby broke up in January? But they were still talking up until mid-March. He sent her a D pic. He sent her the same explicit video that he sent to me and Steph. And then around March 14th to the 20th is when he had flown out, Steph, the second woman, to Montreal. And then a week and some change, March 31st, he flew me out. That's the rough gist of the timeline.
Okay.
I also want to point out really quick how in January of this year, as early as January 4th, Abba was flirting with Stephanie while Libby was pregnant. And this man really has the audacity to claim that she was cheating on him over an Instagram account? Boy, Not him actually cheating on his pregnant girlfriend, blocking her, and then immediately moving on to the next bitch. What the fuck?
By April 10th, he still had his ex-girlfriend's phone number. They had ended things initially in January because of the pregnancy abortion. He blocked her for a couple weeks. She got the abortion. She had no other choice. So they reconnected, and she's thinking at the time that she did so many things wrong on her end, and she was so sorry for how she did things with the breakup, whatever, just apologizing. Same kind of dynamic that I had with him, apologizing for things that I shouldn't really be apologizing for. This man is emotional, I'm telling you guys. They were on leveled terms. Let's just say it was leveled. April 10th goes by, and he finds her Instagram account that she was using to kind of like build a platform. It was for archery and gym content. You can see right here, she's a very curvy woman. She's got the breasts and she's got the hips and she's got the booties. You can't blame her for the body that she has. She's worked hard for that. And
oh, shut up. Hold on.
And she's got the booties.
God damn. She got that Filipino genetic from the Spaniards. You understand me? Keep them squats going, baby girl.
You can't blame her for the body that she has. She's worked hard for that, and I don't blame her for showing it off. His claim for her was that she was cheating because she had this Instagram account and she was hearting the comments and she would react with like emojis.
You're a whore. You're a whore. Just admit it. You're a whore. You whore yourself out online. You whore yourself out in front of your family and your friends. You're a whore.
In the same breath, he's also telling me that he's not sleeping with anyone else. He's not talking to anyone else romantically. He's not doing any of that. He's not whoring around. But he was. And he was projecting it all onto her. And then he tried to make everyone else online think that about her. You cannot trust this individual with anything, with your life, with your health, with your punani. You can't. Okay, you can't. You just can't. There's so much that I want to get into, but I need to stick to what I want to talk about for this video.
Okay.
Regarding the STD issue, I also want to bring up the fact that he pursued a sex worker. So we know that he pursued a sex worker and that he wanted to have unprotected intimacy with that individual as well. That's just another layer to add on to the worry of STDs, because this guy, he will pay for it and he doesn't want protection. That is a really big issue. You cannot trust this individual with any—
I'm going to be honest here, and as honest as what I possibly can, is that as being content creators, being people with a little degree of notoriety, perhaps, you know, more money than the average bear, it almost seems like in this day and age, it might be more advantageous for men like us to just pay for it. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. Abba is moving so sloppy. If like the things that she's saying, right? Like if he doesn't do a video, he doesn't cross-reference different things. And I'd be honest, at this point, I think he shouldn't. I think he should just let this go, let lawyers handle it to debunk shit, you know, right? Like if he does so choose to, right? But there is clear inconsistencies in the things that he was saying versus what he was doing. The thing is that you're the public figure. If you're lying, these private citizens can come out the woodwork and try to expose you. And this actually takes me back to what Kevin Samuels used to say like all those years ago is that, you know, there's high value men out there that just pay for it because they don't want to deal with the bullshit. They don't want to deal with you in your average income earning and right. Like there's a lot other things at play. And me being a man in a position of power, of a position of affluence, right? Like, and now you're exposing me, whether it be to have more status, more notoriety, right? Like this is why high value men tend to go down that route, which is to pay for, because you're thereby engaging in a fiduciary contract, one of which you are less likely to be exposed because everything is just, right? You don't have the rigmarole of dating and feelings and relationships. And, you know, also thinking about Abba and, right, he's going through something medically. And this is what I was going to say earlier in there. Let me just talk about it right now. He's going through something medical that has perhaps, and we don't know him before the public platform, but perhaps has caused a shift. And maybe it's unbeknownst to him that the shift that he's going through has diverted so much of his public image and persona and the things that he says versus his private, up to the extent of even projecting to other people like a destiny. But let me tell you guys from my experience is that I have empathy for that. And going through the things that I've gone through within my life, specifically when I was going through my cancer diagnosis, at the other end of that, I was way more reckless of a person. I was incredibly, way more reckless of a person because I think in my mind, I was thinking to myself, well, if this kills me, I'll be closer to my father. But when you're going through a grieving process, when you're going through this like adulting, this maturation process, when you're trying to match up of what you know is a right, moral, and good decision with the thoughts and idea that can be clouded by life itself, by loss, by grieving, right, through the thought of your life ending particularly soon, you begin to lose sight of that, or you can. And it takes an overwhelming amount of discipline in order to, and as well as support from friends, family, or your community, in order to be able to overcome. Now, as I say all these types of things, I'm also not giving him a pass from what he done. He's obviously made some mistakes. And a lot of these mistakes, he took it to his platform and he talked about these mistakes, all right? And within those mistakes, not only through his own process of, dealing with the situation or perhaps his mortality, he has hurt other people around him. But that's why I've always tried to be truthful with people or women that I meet, because I give them the option of working with me, of doing business with me. I give them the option of dating me or being in relationships with me, having sex with me. And if you don't operate in that manner, then it might come back to bite you in the ass. And especially if you're a public-facing person with a platform where you speak about accountability. I don't know Abba personally, but if I was to guess, I would say that he holds similar values to myself, which is you have to comb with a fine-tooth comb of people that come in and around your space and as well as your life, because anybody at any given time, especially other people with platforms, have the opportunity to be able to put what you do in private up until light. And if I had a relationship with him, this would probably be something that I would talk about, is that I just hope that he has real friends, real family still left within his life to talk to him about whatever it is that he's going through. And I really think that he's going through something mentally that allowed him to make over a period of a couple of years some bad decisions. And those bad decisions have now bled out into a public platform. And he probably just needs to take a huge break. Hey, shit, maybe he need to go over to Thailand. Hey, bro, if you need any advice, I can give you, you know what I'm saying, where I was staying at. You understand me? Because it did significant healing for your boy. All right. But yeah, I think he needs to take a break for a little while and go on a period of reflection and a journey of beginning to understand who he is as he's getting older, right? Like, and maybe leave these chicks around, alone for a little while. Because, I get it. Shit, periodically I look down into my DMs and I see a fantastic viscous innards being slid my way. And I'm just looking at it like, Now, I will say, I think the brother's in Montreal. I've been to Montreal one time, and the women are beautiful up there. So I don't know. It seems as though all the women that come out try to expose him, he's found via online sources. And you know what I mean? But this content creation game can be a lonely journey. I think actually his is probably less solitude filled than even mine, because it seems, he's got preached there. And I don't know if they friends or I don't know what the situation is. But then there's also people that are in the studio that work with them. So it seems like he has a social situation, but what he may not have is people talking to him directly, right? Like about what he's going through. Maybe he's insular. He just don't talk about or share things with other people. But I really think that there is challenges within his mental health that's been impacting him. And even the young lady, she described, I actually didn't go over it in the video, but she was describing how he's in poor health due to his own admissions of his schedule and drinking on stream. And it can all snowball into you making these types of decisions, right, in a short period of time. But to my audience, if you haven't learned anything within this, just wrap it up. And I don't think you should be lying to women, I think that you become dope enough within your life so that you can feel comfortable arming them with the information, and then they make the decision of whether or not they want to do business with you. And I get it. It can be difficult too, because there's other dudes that are lying to them in order to gain access to them. I get it. But I think holding integrity within your conscience should be more paramount, or is more paramount than what we give credit for. But all right, guys, I think that I'm done talking about this one. Let me know what you think down up in a comment box down below. Grape via fraud is absolutely insane. You could say you got frauded out of the cheeks, my lady, but you fully consented. I couldn't believe that she said that, right? Like, we got to stop allowing this kind of switching or massaging of words in order to weaponize them against a person or other party. But God, yeah, leave me them comments down below. What is it that you think about this particular situation? But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Man, stay safe out there. Protect yourself at all times. And guys, if you begin to start to feel like the weight of the world, right? You go through things that like you don't even, right? Like it's just a lot to handle. And you find yourself doing dastardly things, right? You're increasing your drug use. You're increasing smoking. You're increasing leaving nothing but the nuts hanging out, raw dog in front of lovely young ladies, right? Like you have to be able to take a step back, diagnose the situation, hold a mirror up to your face and fix it, because ain't no one gonna fix it for you. And it might culminate into a public exposure, one of which you might lose friends, family, relationships, and also lose it into the future as well. You must fix yourself because ain't no one going to fix it for you. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.
So, without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.